Hey guys, Ascending God here, and shout out from down below. Here with Raid Shadow Legends doing a champion spotlight. Today, champion spotlight is on Dracomorph here. Dracomorph is overall an amazing champion, pretty interesting looking too. He's not one of those typical dog looking things. He's got wings, he looks pretty hardcore. And yeah, he's overall a really amazing champion here. All right, he's obviously a legendary. He's with Lizardman. He's an attack type of champion, and he's the blue affinity. Now, his background, he used to be pretty trashy. I don't know exactly what was going on with him because I didn't have him back then. But back in the day, he was kind of garbage. I believe it was in patch 1.10, or maybe it was in 1.8. I think it was in 110. They buffed him and gave him just amazing boosts to his skills, from where he went to somebody that used to be garbage to being one of the best champions on Clan Boss to date. So I'm going to take a look at why here. So his best uses here are typically with the Clan Boss. Arena, not so much. Dungeons, he's pretty good depending on the dungeon. Now, to get into his skills here, we got his A3, Baleful Eye. It does 25% weaken debuff, 60% decreased defense debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. So, of course, this is great. It increases the damage done from everybody else. I mean, you have somebody like Tyrell that does damage with defense, but rather than doing damage with it, he does a decreased defense and a weaken. So you have a 60% defense down, a 25% increased damage to them from the weaken. It's pretty amazing how much he can increase the damage from your other champions. So on Clan Boss, he does a tremendous amount of damage because of his poisons. In the dungeons, it's not his damage that really makes him shine in the dungeons. It is more than anything else the increase in everybody else's damage that he causes. So 8-3 here is absolutely amazing. When you do both of the cooldowns with the tombs, it gets it down to 3 turns here. So every 3 turns, if you have a speed team on Clan Boss, you can pretty much keep up your weaken and decreased defense just from him alone, if the speed is good enough. Because I mean, 3 turns, they last 2 turns. Yeah, it's amazing. Alright, second thing, Poison Jaws. This is one that is amazing for the Clan Boss, not so much in other encounters. This is why he's not quite as valuable in the dungeons. Attacks 4 times at random, and each hit places a 5% poison debuff for 3 turns. Now, the amazing thing about this, I don't know any other champion that has poisons to the extent that he does. You have Aethar, who does a similar attack 4 times, and it places 5% poison debuffs, but it's only for 2 turns. So he has an extra turn on every single one of them compared to, you know, what Aethar has, which is really great. And so I don't know anybody else that can apply poisons like that, and then it's every 3 turns he's applying these 4. So on the Clan Boss, it's great because all 4 are going to hit the Clan Boss. On dungeons, it's not quite as good because you have no control over where those poisons are going to end up. You can't target burn. On auto, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference anyway, because on auto, when you're doing the Sage 20 farmings, it's going to be random anyway, and in that case, if you're doing auto, he's great with that. If you're doing manual, there's definitely much better champions that you could pick where you could actually focus fire. Then the last one here is A1. Seeping Pain attacks an enemy, damage increases by 10% for each debuff on the target. And he will attack one random enemy with any surplus damage. If the target's killed, damage inflicted is equal to triple the surplus damage. So that's one of the really, really great things about him, is that he's a great finisher in the dungeons. Okay, so in the dungeons, this isn't going to scale as much as on Clan Boss, where say you're typically going to have like 9 or 10 debuffs on the Clan Boss at any given time once you get rolling, and so it's going to increase the damage by 100% because it's 10% for every debuff. Whereas with the dungeons, the enemies aren't going to have as many debuffs on them, but it still does a decent amount of damage, and plus, if he kills an enemy with it, the surplus ends up being triple whatever that surplus was. So say if he had an extra, 800 damage that he was going to do to that one champion and it kills them, now instead of doing the 800 extra to somebody else, you're going to do 2400 to somebody else. So again, when you're doing auto farming, that's great. So he's really, really good for auto farming as well. All right, and then so his typical use is amazing for clan boss, absolutely amazing for clan boss. As far as the dungeons, he's really, really good in the dungeons as well, especially when you're doing them on auto. In arena, not so much, for a few different reasons that I'll get into in just a little bit as far as handling him in arena. Now, as far as his masteries, again, like in all of these videos, I do just encourage you to go look up either the arena build or mastery build guide that I have, as far as that video, because the clan boss build guide is what you should build for him, because if you have him, there is no reason you should not have him on your clan boss team. He is just way too amazing on the clan boss to not do so. So, as far as that, typical skills that you would typically look for on these champions, you're going to want to give him Master Hexer to increase the debuffs as far as the poison, so he can, instead of giving 3-turn poisons, 30% of the time he'll give 4-turn poisons, which is amazing, absolutely amazing. And then I go with Sniper, where it increases the chance of placing any debuffs from skills or artifacts by 5%. This one maybe isn't as important, but I mean, what else are you really going to go with? I mean, you could go with Spirit Haste, or you could go, he doesn't have any buffs, so the only thing other thing you go with is Spirit Haste. With Sniper, I'm not 100% sure if this contributes towards resistance or if this is just a chance, like say if there's a 30% chance of placing a certain debuff, if it just increases that 30% to say 35%. So he has a 100% chance on everything, so Sniper may not be doing anything for him. I've never gotten confirmation on, say, like this poison, where it doesn't have a percentage chance of placing it. It's going to place the poisons unless they get resisted. Now, I don't know if that 5% contributes an extra 5% towards avoiding the resistance, or if it would more so be something like, say, with Turvold here, where he has, say, a 30% chance here, it would up it to 35%. Not 100% sure, but since my main purpose for Dracomorph is on the clan boss, I figured it's worthwhile to, have that Sniper just in case it does increase the chances of not being resisted. So, with that said, I think that covers the main things. But again, I mean, with the masteries, it's pretty standard as you would go with any of the typical champions with the support tiers on clan boss. Definitely War Master for him, because his A1 is only 1 hit. His A2 is 4 hits, but most of the time you're going to be using his A1. It just makes a lot more sense to do War Master. Go with Giant Slayer, you're probably not going to do more damage with that. If you get lucky, you might, but only if you get really lucky. And the problem with that is if you go with Giant Slayer instead of War Master, that means that when you have that A1 attack, which is only 1 attack, you only have that 30% chance of hitting it, which means when you're trying to heal yourself with your lifesteal set and you have Giant Slayer, a lot of times you're not going to heal yourself, so it could end up getting you killed. War Master is a much safer bet with him, and if you have Bad L, even I don't care if you have Bad L or Warlord, I know people run without lifesteal with them. I still encourage you to run with lifesteal. The survivability is just so much better, in my opinion. But overall, he's a really great champion. The masteries, like I said, fairly standards. If you have any questions on them, the mastery build guide for clan boss should answer any of those questions. Now, going on to the next topic that I mentioned earlier, as far as arena, how to handle him in arena. He's not a very big threat. That's the thing, is like I said, he himself is not a huge threat. His threat is what he does to you, which is that weaken, the Baleful Eye, his A3, where it's a weaken and a decreased defense. That can be devastating to your team. The key to beating Dracomorph, though, is to ignore him altogether in arena. He doesn't really do much damage himself to you in arena. He just increases everybody else's damage in arena. So the way to beat Draco on an arena team is kill the other members of the team, or at least lock them down, find some way to keep them from attacking you after he does his Baleful Eye there. And once you do that, it's no big threat, because the great thing about Dracomorph is he's taking up one of those 4 slots in Arena, but yet his first skill that he's going to cast on you is, I believe, always Baleful Eye. And there's no damage to it. And the thing is as I said, you know, especially with the speed teams in Arena and Gold 4, fights don't usually last long. Now, if you have a more defensive team, it might be a little bit better, but I don't support defensive teams in Arena. So you guys probably know my stance on that by now. So I think that covers about all the different aspects of him. So to go over his overall viability right now, as far as for dungeons, I'm going to say just because his A3 has no damage, his A2 is random targets, and his A1 only hits hard with lots of debuffs on it, I'm going to say overall in dungeons, I'm going to give him, I'm going to say an 8 out of 10 screams. He might be a 9. I think it's a safer bet to say 8, because there are other champions that are more devastating in the dungeons. So 8 screams for that. For Clan Boss, like I said, he's amazing. If you have him, there's no reason you shouldn't have him on Clan Boss unless you have like 4 Rosh cards. Alright, so with Clan Boss, I mean, he's amazing. He has, again, that A3 for the weaken and the defense down, so he brings both of them to the table. Plus, he has amazing poisons that are better than anybody else I know in the game. I don't know anybody else that has 3 turns like this, 4 poisons that last for 3 turns. I don't know anybody else that does. So, as far as that, the only champion that can beat him on poisons is Nethril with a counter team. That's the only one that I know of off the top of my head. And then the great thing too is with the Clan Boss, what makes it more valuable is the fact that with this, it's usually going to be getting like a 90 to 100% bonus to this damage because of the fact that Clan Boss is going to be full of debuffs. So, on Clan Boss, absolutely not giving him anything less than 10 blood-curdling screams. Now, as far as Arena offense, because of the fact that he has no damage on his A3 and the fights can be so quick, I really can't give him for Arena more than 5 screams. I'd like to give him more, but I've not used him much in Arena. I used him a few times, and without that damage compared to Tyrell with a defense down, it's just so much more valuable. Even War Maiden, in practice, War Maiden was better than Dracomorph. And that's just sad when a rare is beating them, because again, she brings defense down and the damage along with it. But yeah, he's just not that great for Arena. I don't suggest it. You'll see firsthand yourself if you fight teams with Dracomorph. Dracomorph is not the threat. Again, the thing is if you know how to deal with Dracomorph, which is to not deal with him, attack the other champions. If the other champions are dead and Dracomorph is debuffing you with Baleful Eye, who cares? He's going to throw some poisons on you. He's going to hit you with this. This doesn't hit that hard. I mean, if you were full of debuffs, then yeah, you're going to be getting hit with like 23 to, you know, maybe up to 30k, or with crits maybe even 35k, but you're not going to get full of 10 debuffs in Arena. It's not going to happen. So overall, he can't get less than a 5 in Arena. As far as Arena defense, again, there's the same issues as with the offense, but it is a little bit higher, since with defense, you can't choose your targets anyway when you're defending yourself in Arena. That I would give them a little bit higher at 6 for a defense team. And I'm talking defense as in your defense team to defend you to keep your team ranking up, not a defense team that you're using in the offense, because I don't support that. If you're in Arena, you should be using a speed team for your offensive group. But if you have somebody in your defensive team with him on it, I'd say he's 6 in that instead of the 5. As far as Faction Wars, for Lizardmen, I mean, I've looked in it right before I did this, went to put this video together, took a look for the Lizardmen. For the Lizardmen, there's nobody else that can do anything that he can do that's as good as him at doing it. And especially once you get to the bosses in Faction Wars, which are, you know, really hard to get past. Obviously, Stage 7 was. I can only imagine how Stage 14 is going to be. Definitely in Faction Wars, he's an absolute blood-curdling 10. So, that's about it for him. The only other thing that I think I didn't cover is gear. Gear, I mean, like I said, you should have him on Clan Boss. As such, he should have Lifesteal. Ideally, you want to pair that with Speed. Unless you really have some amazing gear where you don't need the speed, and then it's just a matter of, okay, whatever other gear is your best that gives you the best stats. But for the most part, you usually should have Lifesteal with a speed set on him, because again, like, you want War Master with Clan Boss, and Lifesteal goes really well with War Master. It tops off your hit points. I can't encourage any other gear set on him for dungeons because you should have him on the Clan Boss. So, and as such, you should have Lifesteal. So, Lifesteal combined with something else that's your best, some of your best sets for Clan Boss is the only thing I could suggest on him as far as gear. So, that's about it for today, though, guys, for Dracomorph. So, if you have any questions, definitely post them in the comments below. But otherwise, I think that about covers everything about Dracomorph here. And yeah, if you have him, be very happy because he's amazing on Clan Boss. You'll absolutely love him if you haven't used him on that yet. So, that's all that I got for here, though, guys. So stay tuned for the next Champion Spotlight, and I will catch you then.
Hi guys, this is Anthony here, also known on this channel as Ascending God. Wanted to thank you for checking out my channel here, really appreciate it. Be sure to check out the other videos. I got plenty of goodies on here. Also check out the description sections in the videos. Got plenty of links on there for all different kinds of goodies that I think would be worthwhile for you guys. If there is something in particular that you don't see on my channel that you want to see, be sure to let me know in the comment section as well. And I think that's about it. All I've got. I'm just going to get back to this thing here. I'm pretty sure if I just... Oh,
we have such sights to show you.
wow. That's really funny. Same here.